Hi, guys. This is Dr. Mike, and I wanted to just touch base with you as we start into week two. As you can already tell, our time's getting very quickly away from us, and we are moving very rapidly into the materials. I hope you enjoyed reading the material from our last, which was Chaucer. Chaucer is a very interesting concept because it is one that we have to kind of think through because of the language issues, and so it takes a little bit of work. So anyway, so hopefully I sent you some notes, and I'm sorry I sent them later than I should probably, but maybe they helped you with your understanding of the materials. This week we're kind of concentrating on A Midsummer's Night's Dream, which is another Shakespeare uh, piece. It's very well known. And let me say to you that when your link doesn't work, that these are classics. You can find them online free everywhere you look. So just pick up one of those instead of worrying about the links. I don't have any way to fix those. And after the class has started, I don't think IT can fix them either. So I just grab you a copy. If you have a problem, let me know and I can find you one that we can go by. A Midsummer's Night's Dream. I love Shakespeare, and I will tell you really why I love Shakespeare because I had two English teachers in high school that really brought it to life and they made it live. And so ever since then, my 11th grade teacher, my 12th grade teacher have been very, high on my list of teachers, and I still love it very much. In the 12th grade, we memorized a section of Macbeth with punctuation. And now, 50 years later, I just went to my 50th high school anniversary and reunion, and I can still remember the things we memorized and the punctuation, believe it or not. Bob Jones University, I lived in Greenville, South Carolina most of my life, some 60 years before I moved away. And Bob Jones put on some of the best Shakespeare that you would find. Dr. Bob Jr., who came back to be president on the death of his father, was at one time the second best Shakespearean actor in the United States. And you don't often think about that if any of you know Bob Jones' reputation, you know they were very fundamentalist, but they did absolutely superb Shakespeare. And if you ever get a chance to go there and take in one of their Shakespearean dramas, you would be well blessed and doing that. I used to go to all of them. They did one a year. A Midsummer's Night Dream is a comedy. It does have elements of romance. It has elements of fantasy, some other things in it, and it's known for its playful kind of tone, clever word play, of which Shakespeare was a wordsmith and was really great at it. And the main theme of this work is how irrational love can be. And I think most of you can probably relate to that, maybe in some point in your life. The setting is in Athens, and it is a magical kind of a forest, representing kind of a contrast between older civilization and chaos and imagination, things that are happening in culture. We can kind of relate to that when we look around at our own culture, how chaotic and crazy it seems to be today. You can relate to that. There are four major plots that are interwoven here in this writing, and you have to do a little thinking with Shakespeare. He's much like reading the King James Bible. In fact, some people have debated whether he didn't write the King James Bible, but it was very much that same period of time, 1611. But there are these plots. There's a lover's quarrel here that is, they're caught up in a love triangle. And so there is some aspect of that with romance. There is a royal wedding, which is involved, and this upcoming marriage is going to be a major part of what you read about. There is some mischief. There's a feud that disrupts nature and magic and chaos. All these things are elements of the 1600s that were fairly normal. And then there are the mechanicals. There's a group of these bungling tradesmen who rehearse a play for the wedding, and you get to get an insight of that. So think about what this would have been like in Shakespeare's day. I mean, when he put on a play, He was widely known, and it was not the nice, neat, quiet, serene uh, venue that we would go to today. We'd go to Bob Jones University. If you're in Greenville, you go to the Peace Center, and it was very, people dress up and they do all those things. That was not what the theater at Avon was like at all. There were people doing cat calls and screaming and yelling and drinking and noisy and all those things. So you have to kind of put yourself into that mood. But they talks about love's foolishness. Love is shown as being irrational. It's unpredictable, but it is transformative. It changes you, and that's something I think that you could relate to. There is reality versus illusion, dreams. There's magic. There's theater, trying to figure out what's real and what's not. Those kind of things, and then of course there is transformation, and I think you will relate to that. The language is a mixture of verse and prose. And so a lot of it's in iambic pentameter. If you don't know the meaning of that word, I'd suggest you kind of look it up. It's easier read about than explained, probably. But there's a lot of prose as well, so it's not all poetry. There's a lot of imagery, a lot of metaphors, a lot of things of that nature. The key characters are Puck, Robin Goodfellow, the mischievous fairy who drives much of the action. There's Oberon and Titania, who are the fairy king and queen, and their conflict impacts the mortal world. There again, it kind of goes back to the old Greek idea that what happens in the other world affects this world, and you have gods and different things, and then you have other important things. The important takeaway emphasizes the transformative power of imagination, of love, of art, and dreams kind of function here as a metaphor of the fleeting, the experiences of life, and how fleeting life is, but how important it is while you're here for this short, singular life, as the book of James says, that we have one life, it is short, it's singular, that we latch on to that which is important and lasting. And that, of course, would be love and art and imagination, that you enjoy your life. You're not just here marking time, passing through. And so I think that will help you maybe as you work through this work. And it's one of Shakespeare's most favorite to help you to understand this. These are the great literatures of history we're studying. So hopefully that will help you. I am working through your papers that you wrote last week. They look pretty good so far. I did send you a note about writing this week. I want to improve your writing to make you a better writer and a better student, hopefully. And one of the things that you will learn is that you don't use contractions. Write out your contractions. It is, not it's, okay? That will help you greatly in formal writing. Many of the things that we learned in high school and junior high school about writing in English are for non-formal settings. If you're writing longer papers, research papers, there are things you don't do there that you might get away with somewhere else. But your professional writing is a major piece of your education. And it is vitally important that you do that you learn to do that. When you always ask yourself when you sit down to write, what am I writing? Is this formal, informal? Is it a research paper? Does it have support or not support? Is it a reflection? Is it my reading? And most of what we're writing here is our putting together our own thoughts. Now, you can go and look at what other people have said about this play, and you can draw from that. But if you do, you also need to cite your sources always. If you have a problem understanding something you're reading, ask the computer, ask Google, ask, whatever. But be sure you do your own writing. Do not let the internet write for you. And we do have ways to check that. So let me encourage you I want your own words and thoughts, but I also want you to learn from this. And so in learning, you can always go out and read what someone said about the play and maybe something you see in there that's important. Pick one main thing that you think is important. One thing I will say, I had a question about the length. 150, 200 words is fine. I do not set these courses up, and I am teaching this one for the first time. So I certainly didn't know that there was a discrepancy there. One place says 400, one says 250. Just learn to be concise and get to the point, say what you want to say, and then you'll be fine. But be sure that you need to follow grammar rules. You need to check your spelling. You need to check your syntax, your all those things. Subject verb agreement. This is a higher level English class, if you will, literature class, which means we assume that you already know those things, that you know how to check spelling and things. You spend as much time on your editing usually as you do your writing. So that might be a good rule of thumb for you as well. Okay, guys, have a great time this week, and let's enjoy what we're doing. If you have questions, we'll talk about that. I am still contemplating having the chat on Thursday night again. We had one person show up last week. I'd love to have more. I realize work constraints and different things make it difficult, and the time you host it is difficult because I find that in the evening I get more people because we work and we do different things. There's reasons why we go to school online, and so I'll try it again. It is not mandatory, but it does help, I think, to get to know each other and be able to talk about things. I think that's a helpful thing. Okay, guys, we'll talk next week. Have a blessed day. Know that I'm praying for you and that we're looking for great things. Thank you.